our routine in-person visits.
In a future of virtual patient care, we can't overlook the privacy and security concerns. Follow along as we talk to experts today about the ways to secure telehealth platforms and the privacy considerations that patients must consider and weigh as part of this new normal. Welcome to The Download, where today we're talking about securing telemedicine.
Digital technology has enabled the healthcare industry to continue with patient care during an unprecedented past few months. A recent blog post on rsa.com explained that telehealth usage has increased by more than 500% over the past few weeks. But with innovation comes digital risk. As RSA's Angel Grant will explain, mass adoption of tech innovations like telehealth platforms is expanding the attack surface and creating new areas of risk.
As with anything with the technology, it's a balance between the convenience and the risk associated with that. And I think the escalation of the usage of it, as well as the linkage of the telehealth information to other medical devices, is at an unprecedented level, which means that we all need to pause and look at how we are leveraging the tools to help communicate, because it's going to be here to stay. It's a great tool, and it's important that we're looking at security from start.
So, we know that telehealth has quickly filled the gap between physician and patient at a time when it was necessary for people to be remote. But if telemedicine is to become a standard for the future, one of the leading challenges and questions that needs to be addressed is who's responsible for the security of that platform? Is it the technology provider, the patient, the physician, or is it someone else altogether? Next, Kevin Haynes, Chief Privacy Officer at a leading healthcare system, will explain why the partners you choose matter and why it can become a third-party risk management concern.
Like any technology, there are going to be vulnerabilities and weaknesses in it that can be or potentially be exploited, as we're seeing in the news, all the things coming out. But it's finding that trusted partner too. That's where that third-party risk and that third-party management comes in as well. Who are you using to actually implement your telehealth platforms? And it is going to be different for who you are. You know, if I am a healthcare system like Nemours, treating hundreds of thousands of patients a year in multiple facilities in multiple states, we're going to have better resources to review, analyze, approve, control the use of those applications and information assets that we have, versus a small provider office.
While there are new risk management challenges to address in healthcare, organizations shouldn't forget the basics. As Angel Grant will explain, health systems and providers should view the security and privacy challenges associated with telehealth through the lens of the CIA triad.
Not overcomplicating it and getting back to the basics. So in the security and risk world, we always talk about the CIA triad: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So anytime you introduce new products or services or collect new data, you need to understand the risk associated with that. You need to understand how it's being shared, and think about things like, what is the device security, and what level of controls do you have on that across the board as information is being as information is being shared and disseminated and stored. And that goes down to the data security, like having the basic protocols of managing data at rest and motion. And that included both structured and unstructured data, like images or not. So really taking a close look at that in the data governance strategy, and as well as access security strategy. So right now, a lot of access controls have been lessened because a lot more people are working remote, so they increase privileges for a lot of people who would have access to things they wouldn't have had in the past. So really closely monitor that and have a good access governance strategy in place.
The final piece of the story is understanding what we as patients can do to secure our health data. Kevin Haynes, Chief Privacy Officer at Nemours Children's Health System, provided us 2 tips. 1, read the fine print in those long and seemingly never-ending user agreements. This literature typically spells out how an app developer intends to store and share information. 2, be sure you understand how that developer is going to use and share your information. Health data is incredibly sensitive and important. If the company behind the app developer is for profit, understand that there's motive to collecting and sharing that data. By following these 2 simple tips, you can prevent your data from falling into the wrong hands.
As we learned from our experts today, there are risks that come with telemedicine. And while adoption is growing rapidly as part of this new normal, there are basic steps that health systems and patients alike can take to secure patient data and uphold privacy. What are your thoughts on telehealth? Are you concerned about the privacy or security risks? Leave us a comment with your opinion.
On the next episode of The Download, join us for a sneak preview of the upcoming RSA Cybersecurity Summit. Before the virtual event on July 29th, be sure to tune in and hear what experts have to say about adapting your cybersecurity strategy in SOC for this new remote world. You won't want to miss it. Okay, well, that's it for today's show. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time on The Download.